You're not crazy, you're healing. If you've been feeling like you're overreacting, too emotional, and just not yourself lately, I want you to hear me say this clearly. You're not crazy, you're healing. There is different things that can make it look like what people label as crazy, but I'm gonna make different points, right? So my first point is a lot of what you're feeling isn't random. Whatever emotion comes up, right? If it's a job meeting and they're addressing something and then it triggers you, right? Or if someone is bringing something up and then, you know what I mean, it makes you feel triggered. Those things aren't random. Emotions that come to the surface is what I mean by triggered. They're not random. And it's important to take some time, take a breath, and give it time. Even if you gotta be in the middle of the meeting and get up and be like, listen, I just need to go to the bathroom real quick, and just take some time to breathe. But those are moments that I call honoring yourself. Taking time for yourself. I like to show up as my best, and I think that when I'm at my low moment, everyone doesn't qualify to be in that. And that took me a long time to realize that you have to qualify who you allow in that weak moment. And that needs to be someone you trust, not some random person, because you don't know what they're going to do with that. And that's not something you need to put yourself in a position to have to even heal from that. If it turns out they may be a person who wants to use it against you, but that's not something you need to think about when you learn to just put your trust in the right hands. So my next point is going to be when you've been hurt, rejected, or misunderstood, your mind and body learn to protect you. And what that looks like is what an actual trigger is. It's without getting too deep into it, right? Because there's a lot of information out there about it. But for me, what it looked like was I had what's called disassociation. So I would go through something for a period of my life and I totally forgot about it. Literally put it in a box in a corner of my mind, forgot it was there. And so when I had situations where I was being forced to talk about it or, you know what I mean, it made me react in a way where my mind told me I was in danger. And I had a big reaction to something that I probably could have just been like, hey, listen, I'm not in a place to talk about this. But I couldn't do that because my mind was like, you're in danger, get out of there. So that is an example of just realizing your mind is trying to protect you. And when you realize your mind's trying to protect you, you learn to have to, what people call the inner child. You then have to talk to yourself and be like, you're good. There's no danger here. There's no one coming to beat me anymore. I'm good. And that's real. So the third point is healing is not just about becoming a new person. It's also about why you do it. It's a huge part of what's important to understand. So facing the truth is a huge part of growth and that turn that you make away from your familiar habits. But then what happens is you become new, but then with that newness, then you get the understanding. And the understanding is what helps you to pivot away from the unfamiliar behavior. And you start to see how the familiar behavior was impacting you. So when you allow yourself to really absorb that understanding, and that takes deep meditation, it allows you to be able to really embody and embrace this new version that you're becoming and walk that out. And it makes it easier to help others to come with you. So it's like if you're anxious in a relationship with someone and you're really close, you get into an argument and then that person pulls away and you become really scared. Now, in those moments, that could be an example of as you're healing, you have an opportunity to take that feeling and sit in it. And don't make it about the other person, but separate yourself, honor yourself, and give yourself time. Even if you got to step away for a second and be like, what is this fear of them stepping away? And deal with a child that felt abandoned in the past. And I think one example that I had a friend that I was cool with for a while, and we did a lot of therapy classes together, so we were talking about some deep-rooted things. But over time, our friendship kind of started to not really go safe route, and my body started to have those same fearful feelings in my chest that would happen. And I would need to take a break and heal with God. And he was kind of trying to interfere with that and trying to get me to talk to him instead of going to God. And I didn't like that. And it was becoming hard to continue to embrace the friendship. because it was a friendship that was essentially asking me to talk to him first instead of God. And I wasn't okay with it. And over time, it just became a rift because for me, no friendship, no relationship will ever get in the midst of that. And I didn't like being asked and put in that position. So I would constantly be like, hey, listen, I just need some time. I need to separate a little bit because I feel like I don't want to lose that vertical connection because I'm trying to connect with you. And that's just not a priority over that. That comes first. So, and I've talked about my testimony before, but I literally should have been dead and God saved my life. And because of that, I make it a priority to really put him first before anything. And I try not to get lost in that. And that is very important to me. So I valued this friendship and it was really important. And it was great having this person, especially since I was learning how to trust men. But I think it's also important to make sure that my relationship with God is the one that got me through this. I ain't gonna, you know what I mean? So with all that, I encourage you to, as things come up, it's very hard to do when you're used to just reacting and being in the midst of the chaos. The hardest thing to do is to stop and be like, what is this? Right? Because you can be in the middle of work, it's a busy day and all that other stuff, and you can give yourself a million reasons to not deal with you. But the most honoring, self-respecting thing you can do is be like, I need a second, give me just a few seconds, and I just need some time to breathe and just, you know what I mean? You ain't even got to give all that information, but I think it's important to be patient with yourself and patient with your process and to know that healing is not comfortable, especially when you first do that pivot away from what's familiar. Everything's new, but you have this feeling that you're so calm, you're much calmer. So that feeling could be addicting, but then you're leaving what you're used to, and that's hard. And that's the freeing aspect of it. It's hard, but it's freeing. And the freeing is drawing you. But what's familiar is still looking at you, but that's the tension of healing. That's so worth it. And I'm here to encourage you and push you a little bit, if you could imagine that it's worth it. It really is. But just a reminder, you're not broken. You're healing. You're becoming this beautiful version of yourself. And God is restoring the original, that innocent child that didn't go through all that pain. You're having that version of you restored, but so much wisdom on top of that. So God, I just thank you. I thank you that you are our restorer. You guide us. You give us wisdom and understanding. And God, I just thank you for the healing path that you have led us on, that has allowed us to have this peace that we can really truly process and sit in and have the courage to step away. God, I thank you for the boldness that you are giving these people to just sit in the freedom that you had before them that they weren't accustomed to. And I pray that you keep giving them the boldness and the strength to keep pushing ahead. I'm praying for you. Like and subscribe.